Hello everyone, welcome to my jungle story. I'm Jacqueline, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about quite a couple of low light alocasias. I was actually preparing to make a video talking about all of the plants that I grow in low light, but I actually realized there were a couple of alocasia in there, which was quite surprising to me. But given the texture and the coloring of these alocasias, it does make sense. Yeah, I just really wanted to talk about them, and I wanted to do specifically on alocasia. They are my favorite genus, and I figure I'll give them like a whole separate video on their own because there is quite a few, and I know me, when I ramble on about alocasia, I cannot shut up. So I wanted to keep it not super short, but I didn't want to like ram it into a really long video talking about those low light plants, which I will eventually get to. But alocasia, they come on number one. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to start off with the one that's probably looking the saddest at the moment, and I don't quite understand why. Because I watered it last night, but this leaf is like, look how droopy it is. Like, do you see that? The watsoniana does do that. No, wait, this isn't the watsoniana. It is a variety of the watsoniana. This is the Prince of Corrupt. I think that's the right way of saying it. But it's a watsoniana variety, but it does get really, really like, is it focusing? I can't tell. It's got like a purpley sheen to it. So yeah, the reason why this one is on the list is because it's got velvety leaves and they are also dark. I currently have this one on Alocasia corner that I have, and I do have two SANSI 32, I think is it 32 or is it 34? What? I'm not 100% sure. I have two of them hanging above, but I have a really, really big Zebrina over there, and I've placed this one right underneath the light because I just knew that with the texture of this and the darkness of these leaves, that it wasn't going to appreciate getting super, super high light. The reason that I know that is because I have a regular watsoniana as well. I'll put these two like together, like just like the watsoniana variety. They have velvety dark leaves. They just don't like to be blasted with light. Specifically, I think the SANSI grow lights. But I used to have a watsoniana in my IKEA Millsbo tall, and I have the mother Planspectrum 16 in my cabinet, and even then I could see that there was like it just wasn't as dark as it was when I first got it. And if you really want to keep those dark leaves, it is best to put it in lower light. Now, I do want to just disclaimer, when I say low light, I don't mean like stick it in a corner and it doesn't get any light. No. When I say low light, I mean that it's, how can I best describe it? I guess in my case, I would say low light is me not using a grow light and just sticking it on like a shelf, because this one is not actually getting light from the grow light. This one is actually just getting light from the windows. It's like a corner window, but it's north facing, so it doesn't get the best light. And they are also, the one side of the corner used to get really great light there, but they're building a house there now, and it's quite a big difference. If I didn't have those grow lights there, specifically in the winter, my alocasia would have really struggled. The north facing window does, is it dripping? Yeah, it is. I'm gonna put it down. The north facing window does obviously, give it the light that it needs, but it's not the best exposure. It's just, yeah, it's not the best. So that's what I would consider low light. There's actually not a corner in my home where I either don't have a grow light shining in it, or actually talking about, light and what I mean by low light and everything, I'm going to talk about this one because this is a perfect example. So I have two micholitzianas always struggle with saying that one. I have two. I have one growing in pon in the corner. Again, also it's like underneath the canopy of the zebrina, because I know, again, this is like velvety, it is dark leaf, and you can put it under a grow light, but you'll notice that it will start to become more lighter green. And with this one, I put it on my kitchen island actually to take it upstairs into the propagation room, because I was doing an experiment. I was putting one in pon and one in soil. And I can actually like give you a little bit of a mini update. If you watched, I think it's my last Alocasia care day, check out all those roots. It's like sticking out the bottom as well. This one obviously, oh, fungus gnats, I need to do something about it, like desperately. This one obviously prefers soil, or maybe it's, I don't know. Mine is just not. The one in pon is also giving me a new leaf. It's a lot smaller. This one it's just given me this leaf, and it's absolutely, oh, the light is like shining through it, but it's stunning. And it's like, it's definitely, the camera is definitely not going to pick it up, but it's definitely the darkest leaf out of all of them. And this is in the middle of the room where there is no grow light, like I've got south facing here, north facing on that side, and the center of the room is my kitchen island, and this was right there. So this was not getting, it was getting really, really bad light, like really bad light, and it shot out this beautiful leaf, and it's definitely more, it's darker. It just looks a lot healthier. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to describe it, but it just does. It just looks so much healthier. So I've actually just left it there, because as soon as I put it in that spot, I saw it was going to pop out a new leaf. So I thought, okay, no, I'm going to wait until that leaf has, I'm going to wait until that leaf has come out, and then I'll put it in the propagation room. But it seems to be very, very happy there. So I've just kind of left it. It is quite leggy. And the reason for that is because in the winter, we did not see a lot of sun in the winter, like at all. And that was before I had grow lights there. It was still giving me great growth, but the growth was a little bit more leggy, which in the winter, that is normal. But with the micholitziana, I really just want to sustain those like dark, veiny leaves. So that is why I would place this one in lower light. And it's also a little bit of like trial and error. You need to, I mean, all of the alocasias that I'm sharing with you today, I've all been growing them for, except for this one. I haven't had this one for quite long, but I have had a watsoniana for like almost a year. So it's kind of like the same principle. Also, funny enough, at work, because I got this from my work, I work in a garden center, we had a couple of them sprouted in like pots, like just like decorative pots, just like to decorate and all of that. And we had opened the windows at the top, because yeah, it's a greenhouse. So we opened the windows, and the way the sun was shining at that particular moment, it was like only for like about an hour. It wasn't long at all. It was shining directly on the corner where we had these ones in a couple of pots. And literally by the end of the day, they were, I should have taken a picture. I really should have, but they were almost like, not light green, but also not dark green, like in between. I would probably say around about this, like they were this color. It was actually really, really weird. And then the next day when I arrived in the morning, they had gone back to dark. So it's definitely, the watsoniana is very temperamental. So I would definitely be careful with that. And with my experience with the micholitziana, also very, very temperamental. The one in pon is also growing underneath the canopy. Yeah, I said that. And that growth is definitely not as leggy, but this newest leaf that it's given me, this one, that was in extreme low light. That's probably the lowest light that I can give it in my home. And look, it's like the perfect, for me, what I think the perfect. All of these leaves, this is, actually no, this one and this one, I think this is like probably the right height for a micholitziana. But these two, that was just winter growth. And I had way more leaves, but it also had spider mites, so I had to cut those off. I just can't. When the micholitziana gets spider mites, I just can't handle it. It just looks awful. I think all like velvety leaf plants, they just look awful. So those are those two. I'm going to class these two like in the same species. Well, it's not. It's the two dragon scales, but I actually don't have my dragon scale. Well, I have 15 corms of my dragon scale, but the actual mother plant just died, and it was definitely my fault. I had it in a teeny tiny pot. You guys saw me repot it in my last Alocasia care day, and yeah, it was very, very root bound. In that tiny pot, there were, I think it was 15 corms. Maybe those were corms that I also had from before. I'm not 100% sure, but I know I have 15 in total now. So I still have a dragon scale. It's just they've only just sprouted, so they don't really look like a plant yet. That there's no leaves yet. But yeah, I do have the silver dragon. I have had to be a little bit careful with this one. I can see there's already algae growth here. And it's literally only been a couple of days that we've had morning sun. Yeah, from the north facing window. Most of my alocasias, I'll tell you which ones that are in. They're either in my alocasia corner or they're in my cabinet. That's where I keep them. And there is actually, I'll talk about that alocasia at the end of the video. There is one alocasia that is an exception that I would also class as a lower light one. But what I've done with that one is I've acclimated it to give it more light, to get better growth from it, because I want big leaves from that one. But I'll talk about that one at the end. But yeah, the dragon scale and the silver dragon are also two alocasias that I would put in the lower light category. Why? Because, do I still have that leaf? I think it's this one. It does have a little bit of deformed growth, but again, I repotted this with you guys in my last Alocasia care day. But this leaf, yeah, you can actually tell. You see how bleached it is compared to the other leaves? That was because I had it under a grow light. Again, this one is, I mean, this is quite a compact, there's like different names for it. I don't know what the right terminology is, but there's like jewel orchids or dwarf orchids, what am I saying? Not orchids, jewel alocasias, or they're called dwarf alocasias. I don't know. But there is actually quite a couple of that variety in this category. Yeah, there is. There is 1, 6, most of them are. Most of them are the jewel dwarf variety. And that just means that they stay quite compact and they don't, get like big. They can get quite big, but not like a zebrina, for example. They won't get that big. But yeah, the silver dragon and the dragon scale, they have quite thick, robust leaves. And I have noticed that with just most of the, yeah, there you go. That could definitely be a factor. Most of the alocasias, I'm going to call them dwarf alocasias because I'm not sure if it's jewel. I think it is jewel. I'm not 100% sure. I should know that. My brain is a little bit at the moment. I still sound very nasal. I forgot what I was saying now, in my word. They have very robust, thick leaves. And that's why I personally would not put them in hard light. And that leaf that I just showed you is a perfect example. That leaf grew underneath. It was quite close to that SANSI. I think that one is a 32 watt one. It was quite close to it, very close to it. I actually didn't realize that the fixture that the bulb is in had actually slightly gone down, and I hadn't noticed it until I saw that bleaching was happening here. But anyway, it's okay. It's a deformed leaf anyway because I needed to repot it, but that algae, that's rotten. Those roots are rotten. It's a little bit worrying. Yeah, this is like my first attempt of growing it like this. But I can see some roots at the bottom here that are rotten. Hope it's going to be okay. We'll see. It's giving me new growth. And it's giving me 2 blooms at the moment as well. But yeah, the dragon scale in this one is just one that from my experience growing them, they don't like super high light compared to other alocasias, because Alocasia in general as a genus, I would say they do like higher light, definitely, especially if you want to like bring out the best in them. And you can acclimate. Yeah, you can acclimate them to be able to handle higher light. But with alocasias, it can sometimes be a little bit of a process, and bleaching can happen very, very quickly. They have very delicate leaves. So I don't know. Sometimes it's nice, you know, to have like a lower light alocasia. And especially like the more compact varieties, I just prefer it. It just makes it easier for like care-wise, in my opinion. But yeah, those two are definitely on this list. Another dwarf alocasia, this is the Ninja. And this one also, the texture is it's like velvety, it's thick, it's got like dark leaves. So, I mean, that is stunning. Oh, that's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm definitely on the fence on which one I prefer more. Is it the black velvet or this one? I don't know. This one, the Ninja is a little bit more, it's got like those veins. Oh, it's stunning. It's beautiful. I just want to, I did this one with you guys as well. This can also be like a little mini alocasia update, because most of them I did repot with you guys in my last alocasia care day. You can see all those roots there. Nice. This was the small one because, yeah, the mother plant Mitch has, but the other one died on me. Oh, there's some edema there. I used to grow this. Why do I smell rotting? Is there a bloom rotting in there? Oh yeah, there is. That's what that is. Anyway, in the silver dragon, there's a bloom that's, yeah, I need to just cut that off. Yeah, one of the baby corms that I had, I was growing it in pon and it just died. Yeah, one thing I can say about the dwarf alocasias is that from my experience growing them, they prefer soil. However, the dragon scale and the silver dragon, I don't know, maybe I should try, because I only have the silver dragon. I have a ton of corms, so I can do some experimenting there. But from my experience, most of the dwarf alocasias, yeah, most of them, I've grown them all in pon and they just were not happy. And then I put them in soil, but like a specific alocasia mix, and they absolutely love it. They absolutely love it. So I would definitely recommend. But yeah, again, the same with, you'll see like a repeating factor in this video, but with just the texture, the like thickness of the leaves, this one, I actually have one upstairs in a cabinet. I had to take it out of the cabinet because it was getting so incredibly bleached. I mean, those lights are super, super strong. But again, with the SANSI light, I started noticing, I think I've cut that leaf off by now. Yeah, I started noticing also when the light was directly hitting this plant. Most of these I've placed them so that they are under a shadow of another plant. So that is low light. And again, yes, there are windows there, but there are also a lot of alocasia there, and the smaller alocasias, they are getting extremely low light actually. It's not because they are right by a window that they are getting, you know, the perfect light. Definitely not. And I had to move this one as well. Also the same situation. I started noticing that the leaves were just starting to bleach. And also with a lot of these plants is I want to maintain that dark color. You can acclimate them and give them higher light, but I mean, why would you when giving them lower light in a indoor setting is so much easier. So it just makes it so much easier. And it's just giving me this new leaf, and look how nice and dark that is in there. I love it. I love it. So yeah, beautiful alocasia and so easy. Well, actually, since I've put it in soil, it's very easy, very, very easy. And then one that looks very similar, but just it doesn't have as pronounced veining. That is this one. This is going to also be like a mini update on my alocasias because I repotted most of these. It's actually the dwarf alocasias. They are a little bit more of like the finicky ones, the ones that I struggle with a little bit. And I took care of most of them actually in my last alocasia care day. So if you haven't seen that video, I will link that one down below, because this is becoming also an update video on them. But this is the corm. Remember the huge black velvet corm? I mean, it's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. This is the Soil Ninja. Is this the Soil Ninja one? Honestly, they both look so similar. The one from the Botanica and Soil Ninja. I honestly don't think it makes a big difference. But yeah, I potted this one very, very deep. And like the corm is like down to here. It's a big corm. And it's just given me this leaf, which is absolute perfection. I love the black velvet and like the reddish black. Oh, the back of the leaves. How beautiful is that? I've been so tempted to get another one at work because they're so readily available, black velvets. But I just thought, no, you know what? This one's got a nice, juicy, big corm. It's quite an established one. And the fact that it's given me this first leaf, I'm very happy with it. But this one is living in my IKEA Millsborough tall. And I've actually also had to move it. It's actually not, I mean, I noticed it very quickly because I was watching this plant like a hawk because I love the black velvets. And I was so excited to see a leaf again after months of, this one went dormant over the winter. And it's actually almost every single winter that this one goes dormant for me. So I'm very intrigued to see next winter if in soil, because this is the first time I'm actually growing it in the soil mix, if it's also going to go dormant. But I'm growing it, yeah, that's a mother Planspectrum 16, and I had to move it. Now, because I saw it very, very early, like very early, that it's actually gone back to a darker color, which I'm so happy about. But you're not really going to be able to see it on camera, I don't think. See if I can, I don't know if you can tell on the corners. No, on camera it just looks very, very dark. But I did start to see, I'm going to call it bleaching. It's not like yellowing. It's just like, it's slightly discoloring of the leaves. Just like it was looking a little bit more green more than black. So I moved it underneath a canopy of other plants. And I think because I saw it so incredibly early, that I was able to, you know, stop it from completely bleaching, because you can sometimes reverse that, I found, and I have noticed that with alocasias, this one as well, but you need to catch it at the right time. And I think I did with this one. So I'm very, very happy with this one. But yeah, again, this one is the same. You know, it's got, this one is even more velvety. I mean, it's called the black velvet for a reason, but this one, I've had the black velvet for going on almost 4 years. I don't know, it was one of my first alocasias. It was one of the plants that actually made me fall in love with alocasias. But I have definitely struggled with this plant. And just over the years of growing this, I've just noticed that it prefers lower lights. And I will eventually have to take this out of my cabinet. And I think what I'll do, because this one can stay quite like compact. I actually used to grow one here, like underneath the windowsill, like really, really low light, and it was fine. It was fine. The growth sometimes was a little bit more leggy, but even then it stayed quite compact. So I think what I'll do with this one is I'll put this one, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe here underneath my TV, because there are grow lights at the top, but they're more pointed to the corners, more up above. And I don't know, I'm gonna have to be careful because in the summer, I think there is a spot here that does get, I don't know, I could also put it underneath, like behind me, I've got moss poles, I could put it underneath there because I do have a grow light right here. So it will still get light, but not, you know, like high amounts of light. It will get low light and it will be happy. So I think that's the best call. But yeah, black velvet, stunning, 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 stunning. Have I gotten all the dwarf ones? No, let's get the dwarf ones out of the way. Another one is, what is that? Why is there like white? Oh yeah, I opened the window and they were doing something on the house. I don't know, but like white dust was everywhere. Anyway, this one, this is a perfect example because this one always does this when I give it too much light. And actually is my other one. No, oh, damn it, I chopped that leaf off. Yeah, I have little baby melos, honestly, everywhere. And I've had to chop off a lot of leaves because this one is probably my most, yeah, 100%. This one is my most dramatic dwarf alocasia when it comes to light. I've honestly not quite been able to give it exactly what it lacks. I haven't, because this one was very happy. You could see like this irritates me so much about the melo. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I need to give it a bigger pot. I don't know. But this irritates me so much, and the melo is like known for this. And from my experience growing it, I've noticed that it is because of lighting, that it gets too much light and it's almost like starts doing this because it's like too much. It actually like physically reacts to it. And it also, the leaves, I mean, I have moved this one. So there's not, I mean, you can see a little bit there where literally, I mean, yeah, plants move, but alocasias in specific, they like move very quickly to the light. And the Sabrina was giving a new leaf, and I had put this one like underneath the shadow of the new leaf, but obviously it was still moving, it was still inflating, it was still like finding its position. And I didn't quite notice that part, because you can literally see it's only at the top here, part of the leaf was like getting direct light from the SANSI grow light, and I just wasn't happy with that. Was not happy with that. I'll see if I can I must have a picture. If I have a picture, I'll pop it on screen of a melo that has like quite bad bleaching. But yeah, this one is super, super sensitive to if you give it too much light. I honestly have still not sussed it out. I still haven't sussed it out. I'm going to move it again and see what it does. But this one is the only leaf that it's given me in the last 3 months, probably. Yeah, the last 3 months. I have another one, but there are 2 in there, or is there 3 in there? I'm not 100% sure. That one is also, like, the leaves just look absolutely awful. This one is so sensitive to if it gets too high of light. So maybe I'm gonna try and move it somewhere else and see, you know, see what happens. But the melo is very sensitive to high light, and I would 100% grow this one in lower light. But again, all of these plants, all of the alocasias that I'm talking about today, you can acclimate them. You can acclimate them to higher light. I have noticed that with corms, if I'm growing them under a high light grow light and they've sprouted underneath that light, that they do a lot better. This one was probably the mother plant. Yeah, this one was the mother plant because it had quite a big corm. This one was the mother plant. And plants with like thicker leaves, just my experience, that they take a long time if you want to acclimate them to more light. Like if you are living in a home where you just get a lot of light, or you want to put them in high light places, acclimating them, you can definitely do that 100%, but I would just do it very like step by step, very gradually, very slowly. You know, move them a little bit closer for maybe like an hour max. And there are lots of different acclimating methods from my experience, just every single day. And I know it's a lot of work, and usually we don't have the time for that because we have to go to work, or, you know, just laugh. I don't have the time for that. There is one plant that is just a very, very hardy alocasia and had no fuss whatsoever. Again, I'll talk about that one at the end. But yeah, I've just noticed that these alocasias are a little bit more dramatic with it. Another one is the cuprea. And again, you can see this one is starting to do it as well. It's starting to droop. And ooh, I can see there's a new leaf there. I need to take that sheath off. I need to repot this one desperately. This was also one that I was growing in pon and it wasn't happy, so I moved it into, this is actually a DIY alocasia mix, but I made it a little bit too chunky because I need to water this one quite frequently. I can see it's giving me a new leaf there, but the sheath is like blocking it. Move the sheath a little bit so it can pop out of there. You can see it's going to give me a new leaf there. But yeah, I love this alocasia so much, and I have struggled with this one. I think that is also mainly due to not giving it like the light that it needs, because I have never had a more dark red cuprea than this one. Again, this one is growing Oh, there's like a little spot of variegation on there. If you can see that. This one it doesn't have that leaf anymore, but it did give me it's just like random, you know, like sport variegation sort of, that it popped out, but it doesn't have that leaf anymore. This was actually one I think that my mom gave me because the ones that I had did not survive. I was trying to grow them in pon and they just were not happy. Then I tried taking them out of pon and I put them in sphagnum moss. Yeah. And it just rotted away. It just died. And I used to have one living in my cabinets for quite a while. And again, the leaves just honestly started going like dark green. They just, I mean, usually you get the cuprea for the coloring. You know, this one looks like such an alien type plant. But this one is really nice and dark red. And I think this is my third, it might even be my fourth attempt at, I hope it's like focusing on me because this plant is stealing the show here, but it can steal the show, it's fine. Yeah, I think this might even be my fourth one. I just love it. I love it so much. I love like the dark colors, and the dark red of this one is just stunning. Just look at that. It's beautiful. And this one as well. This one is a little bit like, it's got thinner leaves. I've noticed that this one is quite a fragile one. It like reacts very, very quickly. And this one could also actually be drooping because I have been opening the window a little bit more lately. So it might also be that. Again, this was the same situation with the melo, with the new Zebrina leaf that was coming out. And I didn't notice straight away, and I've started noticing it's doing the exact same thing. And I've noticed that the dwarf alocasias, they do that very, very quickly. The black velvet has also done that in the past for me, and usually is because of light, because as soon as I move it, it's absolutely fine. So again, this will be one that I'm just going to move. This is probably the most like success that I've had with the cuprea. It's still very small, but I'm very happy with its progress, and it's 100% one that just prefers lower light in my experience, just from the amount that I've had. And I've had this one for, I think it's about 2 years I've had a cuprea. Yeah. I've been on a roller coaster ride with this one. So from my experience, again, this is all from my experience growing these plants. Whenever I do these like videos to give you like tips and tricks and advice and all of that, it's all from my own experience. I don't Google. I want to speak from my own experience, because I also feel like everyone has a different experience with their plants. And I almost feel like when I did my Monstera constellation video, I've seen in the comments like people growing them in completely different conditions and they're also thriving. I honestly feel like every single plant, like not species or genus, but every single particular plant is different. They all have their different like mood swings and temperaments, and I mean they're living organisms, and I think people forget that sometimes. But yeah, this is all from my own experience, so that's why I wanted to share it. So that is the cuprea. I'll put that one back here. Is that all of my dwarf alocasias? This was the list that I started to make for my low light plants, like the plants that I grow in lower light conditions. And I noticed there were a lot of alocasia on there. So I figured, let's do an alocasia video, because who doesn't love alocasia? Okay, I have 2 more. So this is one of my favorite plants, honestly, one of my favorite plants. And I can actually show you some bleaching on this. So this is my pseudo sanderiana, and you can see. Can you see? Do you see some bleaching like on the corners? Yeah. So this plant is also one that's been on a roller coaster. This is the mother plant. I have a ton of baby corms from this. Did I repot this one with you guys? I don't remember. Honestly, I did so much alocasia care in that video. I don't remember. but I'll show you the roots anyway. This one is also one that's very, very happy. I used to, again, I tried growing this one in pon. Most of my alocasias, I tried with all of them, growing them in pon. And if that doesn't work, I resort to an alocasia mix. And yeah, this one just absolutely loves it. This is not a dwarf alocasia. This one can get very, very big. This is the biggest leaf that it's ever given me. And those were the leaves before, like it's quite a big difference. And this is the soil mix from Cibotanica. Amazing. And I put this corm in the soil mix without any roots. Like all the roots were mush. Yeah, I took it out of pon. And I took off all of the roots because they were mush. They were not happy. But yeah, this is a perfect example. You can see this one is a little bit bleached. I hope it picks up on the camera. But this one is a little bit bleached. This one is also most of these are just like darker leaf alocasias. This one, texture-wise, is a little bit more like, I want to say like the regular alocasias. What's a regular alocasia? I don't know. They're all so unique and different, but like the Alocasia odora, just like the texture, like this, it's got more like a shiny feel to it, whereas most of these other ones, no, the cuprea also feels like that, but that is a dwarf Alocasia. Wait, no, I'll pop on screen if the cuprea actually is one, because now I'm really struggling if it is. I don't know. No, I'm thinking it's not now. Because that one can get also a huge. I don't know. I'm talking about low light here. I'm not going to get into the specifics. But anyway, yeah, the pseudo sanderiana. I've had this one for, I think, about 2 years. And this one used to grow in the back room. We have like a part just before Lexi's room where it's like it's almost like, what do they call it? Like a veranda. But it's not like glass. You can't, it's definitely filtered. It's not like super, super bright light. It is very bright in there. It is very bright in there, but it's not like direct sun going through, if you know what I mean. I hope that made sense. But this one was growing there and it was just not happy. Like every single leaf that came out, it was bleached because of the high lights there. And again, the same situation now. I think I'm definitely going to have to move this more away from the window and like right up against like the darkest part of my alocasia corner. Maybe try and like put it underneath multiple layers of foliage, because this one is one that also reacts very, very quickly to if it gets too high of light. I had this one also in my cabinet, and also the leaves were just not really nice and dark. I'm kind of bummed about that leaf because it's definitely not looking as dark as it used to. You can tell this one is the darkest leaf. That one is definitely the darkest leaf. And that's stunning. That's what I want. That's what you need from this plant. You know, you go for these, oh, it's just so beautiful, so beautiful. I have tried to acclimate this one to higher light, but it didn't work. So it just prefers lower light. And then last up, this is also a newer addition. And again, I can show you the bleaching on this one. But this is my longiloba purple. And you could see on this leaf, this one is living in my Millsboro tall, but you can see on this leaf it's got it's like bleached. It's nowhere near, like if you look at this one is so much darker. So much darker. I mean, yeah, this leaf is a lot bigger, so it's still sizing up. It's still happy, but I actually want to see. I can't see a lot of roots. This one is not one that's, why are you wobbly in there? I do have to be careful with this one because the stems are so delicate and so thin. Actually, last time I went to the Netherlands, Nariza, she got one of these in the garden center. Great deal. I think it was like 40% off. Stunning, beautiful. But when we went outside to the car park to put the plants in the car, it was a little bit wet. Like it was not super, super windy, but it was definitely like the wind was picking up. It was more near the end of the day. And one of the stems, I think it only had one leaf as well. And it was a beautiful leaf. Oh my word. Yeah, this one is a very, very fragile alocasia. I would definitely be more careful with this one. But I need to take this one out of my cabinet because this is the latest leaf that it's given me, and it's bleached. It is. It's quite badly bleached. Maybe I'll try and take a picture because unless the footage can really, I don't know, I always find it hard to tell on the viewfinder, but it's very, very bleached, very bleached. I mean, again, all of these alocasia are darker leaf alocasia, so it does make sense that they don't want to be blasted with a lot of light, but I don't know, I thought this leaf was fine, but this was the leaf that it came with. And then it gave me this leaf, which is beautiful, but it's bleaching. So I think just the principle in general of darker leaf alocasias just don't like strong light. One thing also is that maybe, was this one underneath a canopy? I think it was. I think that was the case, because I moved it then to get more light because it was popping out this leaf and I wanted to get, my normal reaction with alocasia is, yes, they need a lot of light. So that's why I did that. But I'm also learning from making this video is that the rule is if they are darker leaf alocasias, they just prefer lower light. But yeah, it is sad about that one because it took a while to give me this leaf. It is bigger, which is fine, but I'm definitely going to have to take it out of the cabinet. But it's stunning. But it doesn't have, it also, this is the purple, the longiloba purple. When it unfurled, it didn't have that purple sheen. It honestly, it wasn't even fully unfurled and I could already start to see bleaching with this one. So yeah, which is why I got, otherwise I would just get a regular longiloba. But I got this one because of that purple stunning leaf, what it's supposed to get. And these two leaves, honestly, to me, they look like two separate plants. This looks like just the regular longiloba, maybe the longiloba silver with the bleaching. But it's just the leaves look so different. This one is so much darker than this one. So yeah. But yeah, those are all of the, I'm going to say darker leaf alocasias. Yeah, the more like textured, velvety alocasias, they, in my experience of growing them, they just prefer lower light. And honestly, again, in an indoor setting, that's ideal because a lot of the times light is a real issue when it comes to growing houseplants, because we call them houseplants, but these plants are actually not houseplants. They live in tropical environments, just somewhere else in the world, not in our home. So yeah, it's kind of, it's the ongoing struggle. And I have gotten in the last year a lot of grow lights just to be able to keep them happy, because that's what you want in your plants. You want them to be happy, you want them to thrive. And over the winter, specifically this last winter, actually, we hardly had any sun, and it's very depressing. And honestly, adding the grow lights wasn't just like a benefit to the plants, but also for us, it was just like so nice. And it didn't feel like winter in our home. It was just always light. And I'm very happy that I was able to add all of those grow lights to my home, because I think a lot more plants would have gone dormant. There is actually, I did say that at the end of the video I was going to mention one alocasia that is the exception, but now that I'm thinking about it, there are actually two. And that is the Alocasia tanderusa and the Alocasia regal shield. The regal shield was one I used to keep in incredibly low light, but I wasn't getting nice, big growth, and that's what I wanted. So I spent a real good amount of time, and this was actually during the time, okay, I've had to change angles because I've had to put my fan on my camera because it was overheating. But anyway, we're at the end of the video, but the regal shield and the tanderusa are the exception because last year, for most of the year, I was home. I wasn't working. So I was able to put a lot of time and effort into those two plants in acclimating them to higher light, because they were just two plants that they were they were growing nicely, but they weren't giving me the leaves that I wanted. So I wanted to put the effort and time into those two. But the Tanderusa and the Regal Shield are definitely two alocasias you could also grow in lower light. I would recommend from like a smaller plant as well. Don't get like a big one in the garden center and then put it in lower light, because it won't be happy. Get like a small one and then put it in lower light. It will just have a better time adjusting to that. Usually more mature plants have a harder time adjusting to like drastic changes in light. But the Regal Shield was one that I used to grow in the incredibly dark corner. Actually, I used to grow that one. I mean, yeah, my home's changed a lot. I actually always used to grow it there, but I didn't have a grow light there. That grow light is only in the last like 6 months that I've added that grow light there. Or maybe it's longer. I don't remember, honestly. No, it's definitely within the last 6 months. I used to grow it in that corner there. And yeah, that's a north-facing window. It's about 3 meters away from the window. And it's right next to a door as well. Our plant honestly probably doesn't get the best conditions. I could probably give it better conditions. But yeah, I gave it a grow light because I just wanted bigger growth. And I do have to say, I didn't keep the grow light on for like the full day. Usually I keep my grow lights on for 10 to 12 hours. But I only did it, I think in the beginning, like the first 2 weeks, I only did it for about 6 hours. The first 2 leaves, even still, the first 2 leaves it gave me after that, they were bleached. They were just not, well, they weren't bleached. They were basically burnt. After those 2 leaves, it was fine and it started giving me bigger growth. You can keep a Regal Shield in lower light, but it won't thrive. It won't give you those nice big leaves. It'll still be lush and still be beautiful, but it won't give you those nice big leaves. I'm actually going to try and attempt and grow in Regal Shield outside to see if I can get like those really nice big leaves. But it's already quite big inside, so we'll see what happens. The Tanderusa, it was giving me new growth. It was happy, but the growth was like getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And when I put it underneath the grow light, the leaves bleached completely. So that one was also a case of what I did was I actually placed it underneath the Regal Shield, like underneath the biggest leaf. I mean, yeah, that's still lower light. You can still do that. Again, it's the same situation. You'll get smaller growth. You know, you won't get that amazing, nice growth. And the Regal Shield and the Tanderusa also have quite robust leaves. Usually you would think those plants that they would be able to handle like higher amounts of light, but it also depends on their coloring. The Regal Shield is a dark leaf alocasia. The Tanderusa is a lot lighter, but it can also have quite like dark green leaves. But I think specifically that one, the texture with like the hairs and all of that one just, yeah, I would personally just try and grow that one in higher light, because otherwise it will just give you small, awkward looking growth. I feel like the plants that I've talked about today are plants that are really thriving in lower light, and that's really what I wanted to make this video for, is just to show you the alocasias that are thriving in lower light and just prefer it in general. Like I've grown them in higher lights, like medium light and lower light, and these ones specifically, in my experience, again, prefer growing in lower lights. The Regal Shield, you can still grow that one, but I don't know. I would recommend just like highlights. I've also made like a care guide on the Regal Shield as well, if you want to see that video. But for that one, I don't know. I feel like people get the Regal Shield for like the big, beautiful leaves. So you want to keep that, you know, you want to sustain that. So I would just give that one more light. I hope that you enjoy this video and that you found it useful, because I feel like we just need to know about more plants that can be grown in lower light, because in our indoor environments, that usually is the case, is you usually are able to provide them with, or you usually have more spots in your home that are lower light than you do higher light, you know, unless you're a freak like me and you just get grow lights everywhere. But I love Alocasia. They're my favorite genus, so I want to be able to give them that. But, you know, these are the exceptions. These are the little ones that just don't, I don't know. I feel like they're also quite I don't want to say low maintenance. I definitely don't want to say that. But I feel like they've become lower maintenance with the things that have changed with them, like giving them lower light, also changing the substrate with some of them. They've become less maintenance. And I feel like a lower light plant is just less maintenance in general, to be honest, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments about any... Lexi. She's sniffing. What is that? I think there might be some serious bogeys on that from the kids. I think that's what she's smelling. But anyway, don't know, Lexi, please no, there's plants here, okay? We're gonna go outside in a minute. Let me know in the comments down below about any alocasias that you grow in lower light. Are there any like extras? Are there any of these? Are you growing them in lower light, or are you growing them in higher light? Like, let's talk about alocasias in the comments, because it's definitely a genus that has been marked as a very dramatic. I mean, they are. I can say I love them, but I can also say they are drama queens, 100%. So I feel like we all just need to help each other out when it comes to alocasias. And that's why I made this specific, I wanted to separate the alocasias from the rest of my incredibly long list of plants that I grow in lower light. But I will be sharing those other plants as well in a separate video. But wanted to give my alocasias some little bit of extra attention. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. It's just a click of a button. You might not even realize that you're not subscribed, because if you watch my videos, the YouTube algorithm, they will pop up my videos on your home screen. But subscribing is just a great way of supporting me. It helps me out, my channel out, and of course watching my videos, the view time is also incredibly important. So if you watch my videos all the way to the end, thank you so much. Maybe I've seen lots of other YouTubers do like an emoji. Maybe I should do that to like see who watches until the end, because I do find that fascinating. What emoji could we do? Is there a black heart? Yeah, if there's a black heart emoji, I'm sure there is. Pop that in the comments that I know that you watched to the end, and thank you so much if you did. If there's not a black heart one, I'm sure there is. Let's do purple heart. Purple or black heart, and then I know you watched till the end. So I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.